video we will be making Kinunot Chowder, a recipe from I Am a Filipino and This Is How We Cook by Nicole Ponseca and Miguel Trinidad, first published in 2018. This is one of my favorite cookbooks to cook from, as every recipe I've tried has turned out really well, particularly the soups and stews. Afritada manok is a chicken and vegetable stew that is one of my personal favorite weeknight dinners, and adobong manok dilaw, or adobo chicken, is one of the most well-known Filipino dishes and is covered in this book as well. I'm also planning on doing a future video on bibingka, which is a salty sweet little cake that is a personal favorite dessert. Now, this book does feature a lot of ingredients that are uncommon outside of the Filipino kitchen, and I will go over some of them in this recipe, but almost all of them are fairly easily obtainable at Asian markets or online retailers, with two sort of notable exceptions. One is featured in this video, which is fresh moringa leaves or mulunggay leaves. I'm probably butchering all of these pronunciations, so please forgive me. And the other is calamansi juice. Both of those can be fairly difficult to obtain, particularly if you don't have Asian market access. But with some perseverance, almost everything else you can find on Amazon or some other online retailer. So with all that being said, let's jump into the kitchen. Okay, here is the setup for Kinunot Chowder. We've got fresh garlic, white onion, bay leaf, coconut milk. We're using swordfish instead of skate or stingray. Was not terribly difficult to locate stingray, which is the traditional fish that's used for Kinunot Chowder, but any sort of white flesh, flaky fish should work. And here's the more key ingredients: sugarcane vinegar. If you don't cook a lot of Filipino or related cuisine, you probably won't see a ton of this, so you might need to order it from Amazon. I'll put a link in, or go to an Asian market, but I'll put a link to sugarcane vinegar in the description. And then the thing that caused me to make this, which was fresh moringa leaves, also known as mulunggay. My Asian market just happens to have these in stock, so I was really excited and wanted to try this recipe out. All right, let's get started. We are ready to get started here at the stove. So we want to go first get up to a boil here, and we're going to start by pouring in our coconut milk. I had preheated the pot there before I started, so that's why it did that. Yours should not do that if you're starting with a cold pot before putting in your coconut milk. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and put in our onion as well. And our bay leaves. So this is definitely a Filipino flavor profiles, but it is a bit of a Filipino-American fusion, making sort of an American-style chowder with Filipino flavors and ingredients. So we crush the garlic with the side of a broad knife, and that's going to go in there as well. And then we're going to bring this to a boil and then let it boil for about 10 minutes. We actually are going to bring it to a boil and then reduce it so that we get a slow simmering bubble for about 10 minutes, and we will pick up the recipe from there. Okay, you can see here, this is the sort of just simmering bubble that we've left it on here for the last 10 minutes after getting it to a hard boil. And now actually, bay leaves, for anyone who's unfamiliar, bay leaves are not generally edible, so you don't want them. You don't want to bite into one of these. And actually, these large onion pieces we don't really want in there either. So we're going to strain out, now that we got the flavor out of those things, we're going to strain out the solids and just discard those. If some of the garlic stays in, that's fine. You just don't want no one wants to bite into just well, maybe some people do, but I certainly don't want to just bite into a giant piece of onion or into a hard bay leaf. I don't know why the recipe didn't just have these onions chopped and just incorporated into the chowder, because that's how a lot of soups are. But it didn't. It said to leave these as just huge pieces, so that's what we did. We follow instructions.
All right, let's just make sure there's no more bay leaf in there. Let's get this last piece of onion here. All right. Okay. All done with that. Now, the next step here is to I cut the swordfish into chunks. And we're just going to put those in. And you want to set these in kind of close to the surface of the liquid, so you don't, be careful not to burn yourself, but you don't want them splashing all over the place. So, okay. And now we're going to let the fish cook for about 5 minutes or so, and then we'll be on to the next step. For this next step, it'll be a quick one. Now, the recipe says that you're supposed to cook the fish until it starts to turn opaque, and I just want to show what that looks like. Swordfish goes from pink to white as it cooks, and this is the outside of it, just sort of starting to turn white now. So that's what it's referencing. So anytime you're cooking fish, you never want to go on a hard boil. In a stew like this, where the fish has no skin on it, it's not encased in anything, it's just cubed fish, you don't want to go for a hard boil, because that's going to cause the fish to break up in most cases. So even when this soup can be reheated later, even when you're reheating it, you don't want to go into a super strong boil. So I never go above medium high, and most of the time I keep it on medium low on my stove. So whatever your stove does. The next step here is to add the moringa leaves, and then we're gonna go ahead and continue to cook this for another 5 minutes or so, and let the flavors of those leaves seep out into the soup, and let the fish continue to cook. All right, and you'll see already that the green really, as it cooks, like with many things, the color changes and the green already starts to pop in this chowder as it heats up and cooks. So, all right, I'm gonna let that go on simmer for another 5 minutes, and we'll pick it up at the next step. Our chowder has been going for quite a bit here. So we're at the final step here. Something about Filipino cuisine features a lot of sour elements, fish sauce, different types of vinegar. Sugarcane vinegar is very unique, or not unique, but pretty quintessential to Filipino cuisine. And so they always are added at the last minute. I'm not sure why that is, but they always seem to be added at the last minute. So we're gonna go ahead and do our 2 tablespoons of sugarcane vinegar. And then we're gonna go ahead and add some pepper. And lastly, we're gonna add salt, because just about everything needs salt. Let's see. All right. Always make sure that you're tasting it before you serve it, honestly, to yourself even. You should be tasting your food just in general, as long as it's safe to do so, depending on the raw ingredients or whatever. Just to make sure that you're getting the right, you haven't oversalted or, undersalted or anything like that. So let's test this out. That's real good. Okay, and you'll get a feel for, you notice I didn't measure my salt and pepper there. You'll get a feel for what you like as you continue to cook more and more. All right, so this is ready to serve. I'm gonna go ahead and plate this up, and I will see you at the finale. And here is our finished Kinunot Chowder. So I finished it with a little bit of fresh moringa leaf just to make it look pretty, because in social media, everything's got to look pretty, right? So it tastes really good. It's a very nice sour, fishy, but still that coconut cream is a very takes me back to when I was in Malaysia, Singapore, that area of the world, and yeah, it's a dish that probably you've never tried before. So if you like my content, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next video.